Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So guys, today is the last session for your descriptive English series. We have covered, I think, all the 4 topics up till now. We started with essay writing, then followed by letter writing. Then yesterday we did précis writing, and today we will be discussing report writing. See, report writing has not been asked in the recent years, right? That is something to note. But at the same point of time, guys, we also need to understand that it may be asked at at the in any exam. See, I remember in 2019, I think, last time when a report was asked in the exam as an option. So guys, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. So you should know what report writing is all about, how to write a report, and we'll discuss the basic structures of report writing in this session, right? Thank you, Ringzin, for the confirmation. All right, guys. So if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, please put it in the chat box, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. In the meantime, let's first start with the definition of a report. So it's going to be a short session today because this is this report writing is not usually asked in the exam, but it can be potentially there in the exam. Reason being, see, they have mentioned in the official notification that there can be essay, there can be précis, and then business communication. Now, business communication includes 2 things: letter writing and report writing. So mostly letters are asked in the exam, like last year or the year before that and the year before that. But last time when report was asked, it was 2019. But still, see, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. You never know what they can throw at you in the exam. So that's my perspective here. So let's start with the definition of a report. A report is a written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated. So basically, guys, what is a report writing? I think all of us, what is the, okay, let me put it in simple terms. What is the job of a reporter? Yes, guys, I think all of you know what reporters do. So they basically they observe something, they look at an incident, they observe, or let's say they experience some particular event, and then they report it to the listener, to the reader. So basically, report is basically, it's a written account. So pay attention to this. It's a written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated. So when you observe something, when someone observes something, did something, or investigated something, so a written account of that is called a report. That is what we need to understand, right? Now, it is a systematic and well organized. So please understand this. It is a systematic and well organized presentation of facts and findings of an event that has already taken place somewhere. So guys, obviously, if you understand this, if this is a report, reports are mostly written in past tense. You know why? Because you are reporting something that has already happened, right? So whenever you're reporting about something, it has to be basically kept in past tense, because we need to understand, see, unless we if we try to put it in present or future, it may not look like a report. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Report writing is all about past tense, so we need to remember that, right? So it's a systematic and well organized presentation of facts and findings of an event that has already taken place somewhere. Now, reports are used as a form of written assessment to find out what you have learned from your reading, research, or experience. So reports are used as a form of written assessment. So it's basically a form of written assessment to find out what you have learned from your reading, research, or experience, and to give you experience of an important skill that is widely used in the workplace. So it is very widely used in the workplace, and you will be asked to write reports when you'll be working in an organization like NABARD or RBI or any of such organization. So report writing is a very a very integral part of your day-to-day job. So this is what we need to understand. And report writing basically is a very important sort of composition in itself as well, right? So that was about report writing. So first, let's understand what are the fundamentals of report writing. What are the steps that you need to follow, and then we will see a few examples of report writing as well. So basically, reports can be classified into 2 different reports. One, they can be classified into informational reports, and the other, they can be They can also be called analytic. They can also be segregated into analytical reports, right? So what's an informational report? Now let me read out the definition for you. An informational report provides a summary of information, right, and data found on a particular topic. So when you are providing some information on subtopic, so an informational report provides a summary of information and data found on a particular topic. One such report is the expense report. For example, you have to make a report of the expenditure that you did or the company has done in this financial year or in a quarter, right? So I'm just giving an example. So you maybe has to create an expense report, or let's say you organized a drive in your area, right? So what is the expense report? So when you're creating a report on the basis of the information that you have with you, that is called an informational report. Now this report is a set of information that is used to request allocation of funds. Example, decision making reports, policy reports, and status reports. Now guys, these reports are not as frequently or usually asked in your exam. So we need to understand, informational reports are not very frequently asked in the exam, and mostly the reports that are asked to you are analytical reports. So in an analytical report, information is researched and collected, and then the report provides an analysis that leads to one or more recommendations. For example, investigation report or progress report. For example, if you are asked that your organization has conducted a blood donation camp in your area, right? So write a report on that blood donation camp. So how would you make a report out of it? What are the necessary steps that you need to put in your report? For example, when you are writing a report on blood donation drive, right? So how would you start? The title should be blood donation camp or blood donation drive in your area, yeah, in our area. Then you follow by date, then who has written the report, and then you begin with the introduction, that on which date your organization conducted a blood donation camp or blood donation drive in the area, and how many people participated in that particular drive. So that would be introduction. Or let's say you can give the purpose. The purpose of this drive was to spread awareness about benefits of blood donation, and inculcate people habits of sanitation and importance of good health, right? So let's say that was the purpose. So you start with the basic introduction, then in the body you give the details that on so and so date, at this point of time, let's say 10 in the morning, the blood donation drive was organized in that particular college, in that particular school, right? And then you give how many participants visited on that day, how many units of blood were donated by the people. Then was there a chief guest who gave who gave a speech about importance of health and sanitation in rural areas specifically. Then some prizes were distributed to some people, or let's say public participation was appreciated by the chief guest and the organizer, right? And then there was another promise of creating more such drives in the area in the near future. So that is what you need to create on your own. That would be the body, and then you give a conclusion or a final paragraph of the report. So that is what basically is asked. For example, let's say um, a recruitment drive was conducted by a college, so you have to make a report on that recruitment drive. Or I think all of you have been through recruitment drives in your colleges, right? So you have to make a report on that which company came on what date, how many students participated, how many got the job letters, what was the highest package, and then average package of all the students. Then there was a speech by the chief guest or by the let's say the chairman of the college, appreciating the students for coming to the drive. And then they also circulated the job offer letters with the help along with the company recruiters, and HR managers also promised to come again next year with more such jobs for the college. So blah blah blah. So you create scenarios there, and right. But there is a thing, guys, reports are written very objectively. So reports are basically a combination of bullet points, right? Where you are writing everything in a very condensed manner, in a very crisp manner. So it's not about, writing verbose sentences. It's about the information that you are about to convey. So the information should be very factual, very objective, and very condensed in your report, right? Good evening, Mohit. I told you, Rishu, probably by probably next couple of days the result should be out, and they should give you at least 2 weeks to prepare for phase 2. That is what we believe, right? So I think it should be out probably. It may be out tomorrow. It may be out on Monday or Tuesday. So just keep your fingers crossed. All right, guys. So let's understand what are the steps and what are the key points of a report. Now, first, you need to understand that when you are writing a report, you have to stick to a third person narrative. That means you're not writing on your behalf. You're not writing on someone else's behalf. You are writing as if, you are an anonymous person who is writing this report. And if anyone reads the report, he'll get all the information that is necessary, but not related to any one particular person. So in a report, you have to stick to a third person narrative, as if you are the observer and you are you're telling the people what happened there, but not from your perspective, from the listener's perspective, right? So you have to stick to the third person narrative. Then, as I told you earlier, in reports we use past tense. Why do we use past tense? Because as I told you, reports are recorded refurbishment of information of an event that has already taken place. So past tense is necessary, otherwise it will not look like a report. The report must be simple and straightforward, right? No fancy sentences. So the report must be simple and straightforward. Avoid using superfluous English and exaggerated narration. So वहाँ पे आपको कोई कहानी किस्से नहीं बनाने हैं. Stick to the specifics only. सिर्फ आपको जो जो आपको लग रहा है कि वहाँ पे हुआ होगा और जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है नेसेसरी बताने वाली, सिर्फ वही बताना, ठीक है? उसके फालतू कुछ नहीं लिखना कि कि लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल वी ये भी ऐसा, एक तो फर्स्ट पर्सन पर्सपेक्टिव मत करना कि वी मेट विद मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल इन द ब्लड डोनेशन ड्राइव, दे वर वेरी मोटिवेटेड. नो, see, people with a lot of motivation, अगर लिखना भी है तो people were seen with a lot of motivation in the blood donation drive. So we have to be very objective and stick to the third person narrative, right? Word limit would be same, Angel, 150 words, right? So everything has to be kept inside 150 words only, right? So not more than that. And 150 word report is a big report by my understanding. Right. So next point, the report must be simple and straightforward. So avoid using superfluous English and exaggerated narration. Now divide your ideas into multiple sentences. So don't make long sentences in a report, guys. Please remember, divide your ideas into multiple sentences rather than one long sentence, because the report is to be condensed and brief, right? Very objective. Now competitive exams generally give topics from issues which are basically frequently asked in such exams. For example, blood donation drive, or let's say adult literacy camp, or let's say they can ask you to report for for a, let's say, job placement drive in your area, or let's say you're given an objective to make a report on the non-performing assets in your area, let's say, right? So they can be asked in your exam, but they'll be simple, they'll not be very complex, but you need to understand what report writing is all about. I won't be able to evaluate it live, Maheshwar. If you if you were a student of EduTap, I would have done that. But I did read the Pressy, all of your Pressy that you posted in the comment section, and most of you did very well. एक दो बच्चे थे जिनकी मुझे title थोड़े अजीब लगे. Rest, I think you've got the context, and I read yours. It was good, Maheshwar. So I'll not be able to do it live because there'll be countless people watching this session. So sorry, I'll not be able to do that. Next point, guys. So make sure that you are up to date with whatever topics that are given in the exams. But as I told you, reports are not usually asked in this paper, but nonetheless you need to be ready. Try to keep the report as factually correct as possible, right? Blood donation drive cannot be conducted in the evening, राइट? सो फैक्चुअली करेक्ट होना चाहिए. मॉर्निंग में होता है, फ्रूट दिए जाते हैं, जो ब्लड डोनेशन को कुछ गिफ्ट दिए जाते हैं, कोई चीफ गेस्ट होता है पक्का मोटिवेशन करने के लिए, स्पीच देने के लिए. सो फैक्चुअली आपको ना एक पूरा सिनेरियो क्रिएट करना होता है टू मेक योर रिपोर्ट लुक लाइक ऑर्गेनिक, राइट? एंड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, कीप द रिपोर्ट ब्रीफ, राइट? कंडेंस्ड. It should not be elaborative. It should not talk about X, Y, Z, blah 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 things. It should only stick to the the scenario that has been given to you in the question itself, right? If it is given. Now, what are the key points of a Pressy? A well-written report must possess the following traits. Number one, adherence to specifications of report brief, right? For example, if they have given you 150 words, make sure that you follow 150 words. You do not exceed it, right? And what are the other specifications? The structure of a report. I'll just show you the structure after this slide, but make sure that you follow the structure. As I told you, in letter writing, there is a 10-step letter format. Angel, I'll try to do that. Actually, we are really busy because we are evaluating copies, countless copies from the mock test that we receive on a daily basis. So we are really we are drowned with a lot of work these days. We are still conducting these sessions. Now, if you want your answers to be evaluated, guys, please join the course. Everything, it's not, it doesn't happen that way, right? The way you are looking for, right? So we are here to help you out, but we'll not be able to do any further than that. I apologize for this. Right, but I did read all your presses, by the way, right? They were well written. So that's what I can tell. Next is analysis of relevant information is very important. So whatever information that you are providing, you have to analyze that is it relevant to the scenario or not. Right? It has to be, within the framework of the scenario that you are discussing in the exam. Right, then structure material in a logical and coherent order. Right, so for example, introduction should be only introduction. Conclusion should talk about what is the outcome, or what was the outcome of such an event. Right, so you have to structure it properly. Introduction, then body, which basically entails the details of the scenario, and then conclusion, what was the assessment, or what were the learnings that you can take from this, right? Or what are the suggestions that you can give. So that should be in the conclusion, right? Then presenting in a consistent manner according to the instructions of the report brief. So you have to be consistent, that you need to follow. There is a 7-step format for a report that you need to follow. Like in letter there was a 10-step format, in report there is a 7-step format. So make sure that you are consistent when you are maintaining the order of instructions. And last but not the least, making appropriate conclusions that are supported by the evidence and analysis of the report. Okay, conclusion आपको बनाने के, इस बार 200 लोग आए, अगली बार we are thinking to to reach out to more people, and and motivate more people to take part in such blood donation drives, and spread awareness about let's say health and sanitation in the area. So next time we are thinking of conducting the drive in a broader area, तो वो आपको appropriate conclusion वहाँ पे देने पड़ते हैं अपनी report के साथ, right? So some key points that you need to remember, but first and the most important, the 7-step format for your report, right? Number 1, your report starts with a title. So the first step of your report is the title. You always start a report with a title on the top, right? So whatever is the scenario given to you, blood donation drive, that will be the title. Job placement drive, that would be the title. Or any report, let's say disaster management review report. So disaster management review. So whatever is the scenario given to you, that specific point will become the title of the report. Nothing fancy to add here, nothing to be creative here. It should, it has to be relevant and to the point, concrete. Then after that, followed by the designation of the writer. Who has written this report? Name if required. If if you are writing for an open public, then name and designation. And if you are writing only in the organization, for example, the report is created by HR department, or finance department, or marketing department. So just write by marketing department or by HR manager. So you can just give the designation of the writer of the report. If you are writing within the organization, if you are writing it for open public, then you also have to give your name along with the designation. So title, then designation of the writer. That means who has written the report, or by whom the report has been written, and then followed by the date. Thank you, Nafis. Good evening, dear. How are you? Actually, this is the last session for descriptive English. I have already conducted essay writing, letter writing, pressy writing in the last couple of days, and today is the last session, that is report writing. So I'm just doing it just to help out the students, that if there is a chance that they give you report in the exam, you should be ready for it, right? So first, title. Second, who has written the report, designation of the writer, name of the writer if required, then followed by date. Then you create again same 3 paragraphs: introduction paragraph, body paragraph, and conclusion paragraph. As I told you, introduction, which will introduce what the report was all about, what the report is all about, and what has been observed in the report. Then details of the report in the body, and then in conclusion you give your suggestions or you give your observations. Now guys, please understand, I told you in letter we do not use bullet points or titles or subtitles, but Remember, in reports you can use titles if required. Let's say you have to give certain observations that that you undertook. So guys, report writing is basically, this is like, if you have ever tried minutes of the meeting, if you have ever tried to jot down minutes of the meeting, and you will be asked to do so when you will be working as an NABARD grade A officer, you will be invited to such high level meetings and you will be tasked to write down the minutes of the meeting. So minutes of the meeting is basically the report, right? Objectively the key points of the whole scenario. So in body you can use subtitles, you can use bullets, you can use numbers now to make the report objective, right? So that is absolutely acceptable, but don't overdo it. Don't just write sentences in bullet points. If you are explaining explaining an event, then use paragraphs. If you are writing down, step by step something that happened, then you can use bullet points and subtitles as well. And if required, now you are also required to present some recommendations or actions or decisions that were taken. Recommendations, what you would be doing further, actions, what else need to be done. एंड लेट्स से आपको आपने एक पॉइंट नोट किया कि जो एक चीज जो वहां पे गड़बड़ हो रही थी कि जो जो बायो वेस्ट था आफ्टर ब्लड डोनेशन, दैट वाज नॉट प्रॉपरली properly put into garbage bins or and taken away by specific authorities. It was just left behind. तो आप उस चीज को आप कर सकते हो कि recommendation क्या है कि next time इसका ध्यान रखा जाना चाहिए, right? So such recommendations or actions or decisions taken are mentioned at the very end of the report. ठीक है, तो ये एक 7-step format है आपके report का. If you want to know what report writing is, then you can just write down these 7 steps and make sure that you remember these things. If you are given a report, you can follow this and this will definitely help you out. Absolutely, Nafis, I'm sure you'll do very well. It will not be allowed in this exam, Angel. In this exam, you can only type your answers. You cannot add in actual reports, in realistic reports. Yes, you can add, tables and pie charts and whatnot, right? In actual report you should, and if you want you can, but in this report, pie charts and bar graphs, these will not be allowed. So you'll just be writing your report. Okay, Angel? All right, guys, so let's see what a report looks like. So this is what broadly your report should look like. So for example, you are writing on a business report for the financial year 2018-19. So report title should look like very brief like this: annual business report for the financial year 2018 and 19. Then who has written the report? By marketing team XYZ organization, and you could have written by finance team or marketing team or HR team, whichever is the applicable team. Then followed by date. So number 1, step 1, title. Step 2, the author of the report. Step 3, the date. Then you start with the introduction. So summary, basically you start with the introduction, which is basically you have to summarize what has happened. So this part introduces the reader to your report, sets the purpose in place, and broadly plates out the content of your entire document. So when you are basically, you have to give a short summary of the report. That is the purpose of the report and what did you analyze, and what you found has to be mentioned in the introduction. So this part introduces the reader to your report, that what was the report all about. It sets the purpose in place and broadly plates out the content of your entire document. It will give you the opening statement of your report. Then comes the body, which is the most important part. Now this part contains the details of the report, the scenario that you are about to discuss. Now throughout your report, please note this down, guys. Throughout your report, keep breaking points and starting off new logical thought with a numbered subheading. So what you are required is you need to keep on switching to new points. The more points you discuss in a report, the better it is going to look. But short and crisp sentences, not very long or very elaborated sentences. Please make sure. And tables and figures must be labeled. If you are adding, like in an actual report, if you are adding tables and figures, they must be properly labeled. But in this exam, you will not be allowed to add any table or figure, so it's not required here. And then comes the conclusion part. Now this part concludes the report with required details, that what is the what are the closing statement and what happened at the end and how it all ended. And then last, you can provide any actions or decisions that were taken or that need to be taken, or any any considerations that need to be put in place, right? All right, so this is the 7-step format: number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. That makes your report. Now let's look at a few examples of some sample reports, right? Now First report is given to you. So let's look at the question. As a human resources manager, write a report to examine the high turnover rate of employees at a corporation. So what is high turnover rate? When employees, they're not basically, they're not coming back from the leaves, or they're not staying there in the organization for long period of time. So that is what a high turnover rate of employees means. So how do you start a report? Report on high turnover rate during financial year 2020-2021 by HR department and date 17 to 2021. So 3 steps done. Then you start with the introductions. GHS Corporation has been operating for 10 years. It employs 200 people, with most of the employees tasked with processing fees for insurance clients. Now, despite operating in a region with substantial unemployment, the annual turnover has been between 60 to 65% every year. So this is the introduction of the report, that this is the organization. These many employees work in this organization, and despite operating in a region with substantial unemployment, the annual turnover has been quite high in the recent time. So that's what he's saying in the report, right? So this was the introduction. Then comes the body. So what are your findings? This was an informational report, by the way. But अगर आपको लिखनी आ जाती है तो informational report कुछ ऐसे लिखी जाती है. Then we will also look at analytical reports, जो mostly आपके exams में पूछी जाती हैं, right? So what are the findings? The most significant issue found by the HR team when interviewing staff was the lack of support to new mothers who require childcare services to be able to come to work. Employees mentioned their frustration at not having an in-house childcare system that could help them continue working. ये एक point हो गया. Then second point, another issue mentioned by staff was the lack of communication between employees and upper management. They expressed their concerns about receiving inconsistent and late instructions, right? So they shared how they didn't know the main business objectives, which led them to lose interest in the company and their jobs. So this was the findings of the report. Then what can you conclude? The main issues that we found were as follows: lack of support to new mothers in regard to child health, in regard to child care, and lack of communication between the staff and upper management. Now then comes the conclusion part. What are the recommendations? To address these two main issues, we recommend the following steps be taken. I'll read out the steps to you. An in-house childcare center can be established at minimal cost to GHS, encouraging mothers to return to work. Number one, in-house childcare center should be there. Second, like sort of a crèche. So correct service should be provided by the company. And second, each department should choose an employee ambassador to represent the interests of staff in management meetings. So each department should choose an employee ambassador to represent the interests of staff in management meetings. Now this ambassador can express concerns and relay outcomes to their teams to increase engagement. Right, so this is the recommendations that were given by the HR department. What are the problems, then what are the issues related to that, and what are the recommendations for that. So this was an informational report. Now let's look at a analytical report. So this type of reports are given to you, used to be given before 2020 in the exam, but not in the last years. Last 3 years the reports have not been asked, but you never know if you might need it. So let's look at the scenario, guys. As the secretary of an NGO, so you are a secretary of an NGO, write a report on adult literacy camp organized recently in your area. Right, so you have to write a report on adult literacy camp organized in your area, and then you are a secretary of an NGO. So what is the title? Adult literacy camp. That's how you write the title, by PV Sunitha, secretary. For this is because for this is for open public. So now you have to give name as well as the designation, and then the date of the report. Then you start. Adult literacy camp was organized on 19th February 2021-2022 जो भी आपका year है, by the cultural society. The event started with a welcome speech for the chief guest, by the chief guest Mrs. Rani, a renowned social activist. So that is the introduction, that 19th February को ये literacy camp organized हुआ, and it started with a welcome speech. Then what happened after that? The main objective of the camp was to bring awareness to adults who have crossed the age limit of formal education and are searching for an opportunity to study. Around 400 people participated in the camp, and these people were divided into 6 groups based on their interests. Now people who belonged to a particular group of interest were asked to assemble in their respective areas. All the rooms were established with seating chairs and blackboards. There were around 30 volunteers who guided the participants to assemble in their respective areas. Now what happened after that? The volunteers spent at least 4 hours teaching the basics of reading and writing to adults. Free stationery was also distributed by the chief guest to the participants along with the participation certificate. just to motivate them, right? The camp witnessed the learning and growth of adults together, which ended ended on a positive note. So there is no recommendations or anything else, but this looks like a good analytical report for your exam. यू हैव टू मेक अप डिटेल्स निश्चल, जैसे लेटर में भी तो आपको, अगर आप किसी बैंक मैनेजर को लेटर लिख रहे हो तो आपको अकाउंट नंबर बताना पड़ेगा, राइट? आई वॉज इवेल्युएटिंग अ फ्यू कॉपीज टुडे, बच्चे बैंक मैनेजर को लेटर लिख रहे हैं, उसमें अकाउंट नंबर ही नहीं लिख रहे। यार एक बात बताओ, आप अकाउंट नंबर या ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट डिटेल्स, आधार कार्ड, पैन कार्ड डिटेल्स मेंशन नहीं करोगे, बेशक वो फेक हो, मेड अप हो, लेकिन अगर मेंशन नहीं करोगे, डू यू थिंक योर लेटर वुड लुक लाइक एन ओरिजिनल लेटर और एन प्रॉपर लेटर? जब आप बैंक को लिख रहे हो, आपको उसको क्या पता आप कौन इंसान हो, तो ही नीड सम रेफरेंस, और रेफरेंस क्या है? आपका अकाउंट नंबर। दैट इज हाउ विल बी एबल टू एक्सेस योर इन्फॉर्मेशन। सिबिल रिपोर्ट, या आप लोन मांग रहे हो, आप अकाउंट नंबर ही नहीं बता रहे, आप सिक्योरिटी क्या दे रहे हो, एसेट्स क्या हैं, कोलेटरल क्या है, वो बता ही नहीं रहे, ठीक है? उसका कौन सी स्कीम के अंडर आप अवेल कर रहे हो, वो इंपॉर्टेंट डिटेल्स अगर आप मिस कर जाओगे तो इट विल लुक लाइक अ मेड अप रिपोर्ट। वो बहुत ही एवरेज या बिलो एवरेज आपको मार्क्स स्कोर करके देंगे। So we have to make up data facts to create an organic letter or a report, क्योंकि वो आपकी इमेजिनेशन से ही क्रिएट किए जाते हैं। ये कंपनी का नाम, कितने गेस्ट थे, कितने लोग थे, चीफ गेस्ट आया था, कौन था, ये दिस इज ऑल मेड अप इंफॉर्मेशन विच यू हैव टू क्रिएट इन द एग्जाम। गॉट इट? So this was an example of your analytical report. Now, so I'll not build too much on that, क्योंकि बिकॉज रिपोर्ट्स पूछी नहीं जाती हैं यूजुअली एग्जाम में, और होती भी हैं तो दे ऑलवेज कम विद अ चॉइस, कि एक लेटर दिया है या दो लेटर के चॉइस दिए और एक रिपोर्ट का चॉइस दिया, बोलो इन तीनों में से कोई एक लिख दो, राइट? सो अकेली कभी रिपोर्ट कभी भी नहीं आई है आज तक, और आई एम श्योर कि वो आएगी भी नहीं। तो just to know the scenario and what your report should look like, that was report writing for you. And before I end these sessions, guys, I wanted to give you, for those who have not followed my previous sessions, I wanted to give you tentative essay topics for this year, right? So you can download this PDF from our Telegram channel. The link for our Telegram channel has been given in the description of the video. So the tentative topics for this year, for topics related to agriculture: number one, changing face of the Indian agriculture, very common topic which is broadly applicable to all the streams. Changing face of agriculture or development, or growth in agriculture sector, right? Next, GM crops, genetically modified crops, advantages and disadvantages. They may ask you this question in English. Then, is integrated farming improving the lot of Indian farmers, and if so, how? So that can be asked in the exam. Next, cooperative farming can be asked. FPO, farmer producer organizations, or cooperative farming can be a topic in the exam. Now, farmers protest and its impact on economy, although an old topic, but maybe, let's say, maybe if they put it there. So these are some topics which can be asked on agriculture, and development based on development of rural areas. So rural areas, they basically depend on agriculture, so it is somewhere indirectly related to agriculture sector, right? Then topics related to economy. Number one, revival of Indian economy after COVID-19 pandemic. Next, role of MSMEs in reviving the economy. Then they may ask you in today's context the resilience shown by Indian economy or G20 economy. So G20 is a potential topic for this year. G20 economy, right? Or they can also give you G20, or in the wake of G20 discuss about the B20 meetings that were conducted in India. Then a resilient Indian economy in the wake of global recession, or what could be the impacts of what could be the impact of war in the world on Indian economy, or on global economy, or supply chains breaking down in the in this environment of war across the globe. Now they may ask you like questions like that, right? Next, role of microfinance organizations for the rural development. Now this can be another important topic. Then, can India be a 5 trillion economy? Basically, can we achieve the aim that we have set for ourselves? That is the question basically. Next, topics related to science and technology, scope of 6G technology in India, right, which has been recently in news. So important topic in that context. Digital India mission, challenges, ONDC, UPI, cashless economy, Jam Trinity. The topics can be asked related to these topics, guys. So make sure that you know these topics by heart. Next, PM Vani project can be asked. Then electric vehicles, the future of vehicles, very tentative topic, very frequently asked in exams these years. And then artificial intelligence, again very explosive topic, very important in the current context, right? Technology of the next generation. So these can be some topics based on science and technology. Then topics related to government schemes and activities. Is Make in India mission making India self-reliant? So that can be asked on government schemes and activities. Then Skill India mission, challenges that come with it. Make in India mission, right? World's largest COVID-19 vaccination program. It may be asked, why not? Vocal for local, how much is it feasible? So you have to give both the aspects of the topic. Then property card scheme, a next step to make India self-reliant. Maybe, who knows, they may ask you. And then some topics related to social issues like women empowerment, very evergreen topic. So ये तो करके ही करके जाना, women empowerment, child empowerment, literacy, environment, pollution, global warming, ये तो evergreen topics हैं, ये तो कहीं ना कहीं से पूछे जाते ही हैं. So make sure that you cover these topics. Then women participation in politics, considering the 33% reservation bill for women in parliament, which was recently passed by the government. So it may be passed this year. Then water crisis, a menace. We have to understand in agriculture context, water crisis is a reality. So you may be asked to write about it. Handling fake news, social media, role of media, evergreen topics based on social issues. Then I told you role of social media is a very important topic, very crucial topic. And last but not the least, pros and cons of lockdown. I'm not sure they'll ask such question, but who knows? So guys, that was your session for report writing. I hope these sessions proved beneficial for you, and whosoever watches this session, the intention is to help you out in this journey ahead. So guys, keep your fingers crossed for your results for your phase 2, and I'm sure that you'll crack it. You'll make it, and I hope that you're preparing proactively for phase 2. You're not waiting for the results and just waiting and sitting idle all day. So at least prepare for for a few topics, go through the fodder material. Even if you're waiting for the results, go through these topics, they will help you. And when you practice this thing, this will help you maybe not in this exam, but in any other exam that you might appear for. So IBPS, SSC, SEBI, RBI, NABARD, IFSC, APF, RDA, all these exams, they ask descriptive English paper in phase 2. So this preparation will never go to waste. Right? So thank you so much for your patience, for your receptiveness, guys. And if you like these sessions, don't forget to press the like button. And if you are new here, please subscribe to our channel. And if you want the PDFs of this session, I told you, you can find it on our Telegram channel, the link for which has been given in the description of the video. So guys, if you have any doubts, and guys, another thing, if you want to join us in our exclusive phase 2 course, phase 2 for NABARD, grade A, which includes all the live classes for ARD, ESI and descriptive English, which will also be available to you in a recorded form. Sectional tests are there, then full length test with evaluation and feedback are given to you, and then simulation on the interface and fodder material. So that is one-stop solution for your phase 2 preparation. Now, you can get benefited from the course. If you want, the link has been given in the description of the video. Okay, so guys, that's it for today. If you wish to contact us for anything, you can call us on this number during the office hours, that is 8146207241, or you can also drop us an email at hello@edutap.co.in, and this is our website, www.edutap.co.in. So I wish you all the success in your endeavors ahead. Keep on working hard, keep on giving your best, and I'm sure you'll come out with flying colors. So keep up the good work, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and happy learning to all of you. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in other sessions soon.